Yeah, I was muted. Fantastic start to the stream as always. Hello all and welcome back to the... But yes, we're just about to head into qualifying. And we shall see how it goes. I don't think anyone's out yet, so we'll just stay on the screen for a moment. But yeah, do you have any thoughts about this track? You mentioned you don't really know much about these cars, so I guess I'll tell you quickly about them. They're pretty low power, and they're front wheel drive, I think. Yeah, so got to like really turn a lot and then just put on the throttle. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to really say about them.
Yeah, I mean, they're like little baby touring cars, which I think is really good for racing. They're quite small, really easy to kind of put around tracks that are a lot smaller, a lot more traditional. I mean, Lime Rock Park, really traditional track. I don't think the layout has changed, at least the layout that we're using, since the late 50s. I think it's one of the shortest tracks on the calendar as well, at about 2.4 kilometers in length. 7 corners. We're probably going to be looking at lap times just under a minute long. So there's not going to be a lot of space on the track for drivers during qualifying. So hopefully they can find a gap and keep themselves going pretty well.
Yeah, and we should be heading there just in the moment. I don't know if the briefing is over yet, or if they're just taking this long to do setups.
Yeah,
But
maybe. I mean, it is a very difficult track, so getting the setup right is it's going to be crucial. I mean, I say it's difficult with like 7 turns and not a lot of distance to cover. It's not like there's a lot of turns. It's a track that's going to be really easy to learn and hard to master. And I think unlike the Slovak ring, I think a lot of our drivers are going to be more used to this sort of track. There's more sims where I've seen Lime Rock Park as well as some arcade races like Forza Motorsport. So I think our drivers might be a bit more used to it, and I think they'll be a bit more comfortable pushing the cars to their limits. So we could see some real good challenges up and down the grid today.
yeah, absolutely. We've seen some fantastic battles so far in the last 2 weeks, and hopefully we'll see some more today. I don't know, would you say this track is easy to overtake on?
In terms of ease of overtaking, it is. With the cars being relatively small, I'd say it should be okay to overtake, but the drivers are going to have to take extra caution since it is one of those older tracks. You don't have the luxury of having a runoff area to kind of go off onto, like you might see on a lot of other tracks. I think Paul Ricard, Silverstone, those sorts of circuits. Lime Rock only has grass, and from my experience, grass is not something you want to be driving on the slick tires that these TTs are on.
Yeah, and it does look very grassy from what I'm looking at right now. Yeah, still nobody out, so we'll just continue yapping away at you guys for now. World of Motorsport at the moment. I mean, we're in the F1 break. I think. I don't think there's a rally
I don't
this
think
week.
so, no. I know that we've just finished I think it was 6 hours of Sao Paulo in WEC, which has been a surprising finish as well. I heard the Aston Martins were doing quite well at one point, and I think the Cadillacs secured an incredible finish. I think some of the best that I've seen them do in WEC. And it does make me wonder the future of sim racing with regards to hypercars and stuff. Other sims are now really starting to push for these LMHs, LMDHs, hypercars, whatever you want to call them, to be involved in their sims. You've got iRacing, R Factor 2, Le Mans Ultimate. You've got the upcoming Rensport Endurance Motorsport Series, I think is what it's called, the new endurance racing game. Project Motor Racing as well. There's just so many different sims to choose from. I think we're in like almost a golden age of sim racing as well. So people who want to get involved, the hardware is getting even better and more accessible.
Yeah, it's cheaper than ever.
Yeah, so really, I mean, if you're watching this and you want to get into sim racing, I don't think there's ever been a better time to get involved. There's so many awesome communities out there. You can very easily get yourself into sim racing with like a second-hand rig and then some games from Steam key selling sites, which I'm not allowed to list unless they pay me money. So you can very easily find games and their DLCs really cheap around the internet. Assetto Corsa, fantastic place to start, and that is where our drivers are going to be racing today. You have such an incredible modding community that just makes so many tracks and so many cars that essentially, if you can name a car and track combination, someone's probably already made mods for that car and that track, and you can drive it today with your friends.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. And as you mentioned, there's a lot of great communities out there. If you'd like to join the BUSR, we have a pretty good community, I'd say. We've got loads of events on all the time. We've got Assetto Corsa today. We've got Formula 1 on Saturdays. That's using the F125 game now. In the future, we'll probably be continuing with running Assetto Corsa Competizione. We've got some rally championships, I believe, on the EAWRC is what we'll continue using for the time being. And the bunch of other community games, I don't know which community games we do. Do you know any of them? I know there's GTA 5 and like Project Cars and whatever.
Yeah, I'm very out of the loop when it comes to those sorts of things. So yeah, just keep an eye out is all I'm going to say. BUSR has some awesome people, some really quick people. You know, if you're like me, don't be worried about being at the back of the grid, because there's going to be other drivers who are also going to be back there. Wide range of skill levels, wide range of drivers, people. It's just a great place to be. You meet so many people. You just get to have fun driving cars in circles for a bit. I mean, the cars might not be real, but the racing sure as hell is. So get yourself involved.
Absolutely. And if you want to get involved, just head over to busr.gg/Discord, and you'll be able to access our wonderful community. In the meanwhile, still waiting for anyone to go. I think they might be about to go finally. So let's see what's happening here. Let's switch over to the main game. Got people starting to leave the pits here. Let's see if I can get somebody on track. There we go. So, I forgot who has won and who has placed high up. I completely forgot, so, oh, that's the wrong car. So, yeah, let's see what we've got. The timing board should come up in a moment, hopefully. If not, I will force this up for now. So, at the moment, it looks like... Well, I don't know what it looks like.
I mean, the cars do look fantastic. I mean, we've got such a wide range of liveries as well. Yeah, I mean, the obligatory anime livery, of course, being ran. You've got Mike's car, which looks a lot like the older McLaren F1 cars. You've got Zurek's Traxion.gg car as well. Aiden Larson, who I saw just yesterday competing in a GT3 race and coming right off the back of that. Finishing quite high in that championship, if I recall correctly. Right into the Audi TTs. Such a different style of driving, so all I can really do is commend him for getting involved. And you can just see how close the cars are during qualifying. I don't know if the tow will really help our drivers around here. We've got Pranav Kalevala as well, who is driving today. Who, yeah, that is them in the grid finder Audi. I think.
Yeah,
I'm really excited to see what they can do. The track again, there really isn't that much room. You can definitely make a couple overtakes here. There's enough room for the cars to go side by side, but in terms of the actual space, you can just see it's a very small track. I mean, sometimes I think even I don't know if IMSA still races here. I know NASCAR has a few events in their truck series. I think that still race here. I have the Wikipedia page right here on my other monitor that I could list facts off if the race gets boring. But I think for now, we're just going to keep our eye on qualifying with these two cars of Kalevala and Larson, both very, very close to one another. As we see another Audi on the right-hand side of the track there, pulling over, letting them by, using all of that space, demolishing that cone. I'm sure it had a family, but Kalevala using all of the track available to them, trying to get as much speed as possible, cresting over the hill and flying through turn 7. You really do have to maximise the amount of track, and I think it's about having essentially no fear to be able to get right into everything and to just send it through the track. Barely putting a couple wheels into the grass there goes Kalevala. Just
Yeah,
able
so
to take
Kalevala
it
has
through,
finished the lap now. He's currently in 5th place, although 6th. I think that's because Mike Maitland just disconnected. We've got James White at the top, though, clearing everyone by half a second.
Yeah, White is an incredibly capable driver. The only real memories I have of driving with him is when he was lapping me consistently in the the USR ACC series, and I think they got drafted as a junior driver on the same team that our resident British GT driver Angus Fender was a part of. Whether he's still a part of them, I don't know, but what I do know is he is an incredibly capable driver, as you can see by the qualifying time. Maitland currently P2, just about 600ths of a second off of White, who is maybe looking to open up that gap a little bit more. Lawson as well, trying to chase it down about a quarter of a second off of pole position. I'm just excited to see what our drivers can do. I mean, there's very little space. The lap time, again, 52.7. There's no minute hand before that. You're just looking at the actual time as Daubigny goes into P1 by 0.3 of a second, as the flying Frenchman is absolutely sending that Audi around the track. I believe we are running not success penalties, but like a success ballast. So
yes.
Drivers that do better in these races will get more bop. Taking the esports line there, doing a little bit of rallying. But yeah, I think the drivers who generally place higher have more bop, which is meant to kind of bring the field closer together. So who is the driver who has the most bop at the moment, I wonder?
Well, that is a great question. The answer to which is probably found somewhere in the AC chats. Let's see. Let's see if I can even find it.
Bunton as well, currently on the track with the BWT Audi right behind them. I believe this is Tom from Gridfinder, who BUSR now uses for hosting our events, or at least showing our events, letting people register to them. So definitely check out Gridfinder as well. Fantastic place to find any sort of community. As Bunton is going to look to try and improve from P12, trying to keep it close to the line. No, never mind. He's going into the pits. Okay, well, never mind what I said.
I believe currently the highest ballast is with Ryan Daubigny, with 75 kilos. Wow.
Okay, that's a pretty hefty amount. That's a large tungsten.
I mean,
cube.
Daubigny is lapping everyone by like 0.3 right now, so it may not be enough ballast.
No, I think we just need to like remove one of the pistons from the car. I think that might give everyone else just enough of an advantage to maybe give Daubigny a little bit of a challenge. But in all seriousness, we have a lot of these drivers who are really, really talented and just know how to push that car as much as they can. And with Daubigny, again, nearly 0.3 clear of James White, pushing the track as much as they possibly can. Really, older tracks like this, they're all about maximizing your space, using all of the space left to you, cutting the grass a little bit on the outside, flying the car through turn number 7, and they're going to go across the line, which is just a little bit further towards the end of the straight. There they go. They haven't improved their time, but I mean, these laps are blisteringly quick, drifting it through turn 1 right into the grass. Not the ideal line, but
avoids
I think
the barriers though.
The pit lane. Not in the barriers. Managed to keep it out of the wall, which is always a benefit. White is really just trying to. Oh wow! I thought he was on a flyer, but I suppose he's trying to open up that gap ahead, letting other cars by. Maitland is trying to make an improvement now, about 3.5 tenths off of pole position. Again, with such a short lap, any tiny amount of time that you can gain throughout this lap, whether it's being on the throttle just a fraction of a second earlier, finding a little bit of a better line for a better exit out of the corner. It's all about trying to find those tiny little improvements, and Maitland does not find an improvement on that lap just yet. But a lot of the other drivers are still out trying to find any tiny amount of time that they can as we go on board now with Maitland into 4th gear through the S's, turns number 3 and 4, flicking the car in as hard as possible, keeping those left-hand wheels just within the white lines. You want to try and use a little bit of the curb there. On the inside here for turn number 5, flicking it in, using the uphill to kind of slow the car down. It looks like the car almost gets air there as we start going at 5th gear through turn
and someone in the barriers.
5. Someone is in the barriers there. Through 6 they go, and flying through 7, the downhill section. It's all about maximising the exit out of there, trying to get as much speed on that back straight as you can, and across the line goes Maitland for 1 lap around Lime Rock Park. I was barely able to keep pace talking with him. That is how fast this lap is. And in some cars, it's even quicker. I think we've seen old IMSA cars go around here, old 90s prototypes, like the Toyota Eagle, had raced around here, and I cannot imagine driving cars that are that quick around a track that is this tight and twisty. We're looking at Willie's multicoloured Audi. Kind of reminds me of Laser Quest or Tron.
That's exactly what it reminds me of.
Oh man, the memories, the nostalgia, and most importantly the pace from Willie as he's trying to use all of the track. I don't know if that was valid because I saw the wheels pass the white line, but I guess as long as you don't go into the barriers, it might be valid.
I don't know how the game actually handles track limits on these modded tracks.
Yeah, I think the track limits are predefined by the people that make them, so they can either be really, really generous, or they can be really, quite evil, I think, on some of them. You can see that mantra on the bridge that the drivers pass under, coming into turn 1. When in doubt, go flat out, which I think a lot of our drivers will be reminded of. Ooh, as Wooly goes right off. I think maybe a bit distracted by the car ahead of White. Again, that gap towards the front has narrowed a little bit, but it's still Divigny in first. But Larson has narrowed that gap down to about half a tenth. He's going to look for any small improvement he can get, any tiny amount of track he can use more of, maybe braking later, trailing it in, anything that he can do to try and snatch pole position. But Larson provision on the front row. Zurek goes into P7.
Oh, the cars do get air there. You can see the front wheels coming off the ground.
Yeah, that must be very scary. Oh, that's definitely track limits as he goes rallying there. I mean, you do it does look like with the track there, you do actually want to run the wheels into the dirt just a little bit, but I'm always scared of doing that. In faster cars, every time I've done that, I just spin. Whether that's a me issue or a car issue, I don't know. I tend to not set up my track race cars for rally. As Aiden lets White right back past, realises he's kind of messed up that lap, decides to let the black and blue car go right through the number 21 of James White, going through the no-name straight, which is the actual name of it, through number 5, the uphills, and then turn 6, the west bend, basically flat out through there, cresting over the hill, down into 7, called the downhill. Again, very, very creative track names here in America. I've got to praise you on that one. And if you're wondering what turns 1 and 2 are called, it's Big Bend, as James White sets a big time, gets to the front of the grid by about half a tenth. So he's gained essentially exactly 1/10 from his past lap, and has dethroned Debigny from pole position. Flying Frenchman is going to be really trying to push to get that car back up into pole. He knows he's capable of it. It's just a matter of when or if he can get that pole. He's going to be pushing as hard as he can. He goes through Big Bend to try and maximise the amount of space they can get, carrying as much speed as possible through that first corner, aiming for a late apex on the left-hander of 3, coming into number 4, using all of the space in the track through no-name straight they go, trying to minimize the amount of distance that you're spending on the track through the uphill of turn number 5, West Bend number 6. It's a really, really fast corner, and you've got to be so careful going through. Through number 7 they go, flat out. There is such little time that these drivers are probably spending off the throttle, and Debigny is flying across the finish line, doesn't improve on their time. He's really trying to push the car as hard as possible. I don't see how you can push the track any more than Debigny already is. I mean, it's such a narrow track with so few areas where you can really gain a lot of time. I think it's all going to be in tiny little sections throughout the track where you're maybe losing a couple of hundredths, and you know, these tiny little errors that you might be subconsciously making, they do add up. As he is barely keeping it out of the wall. I think
he's given up on this lap now. That would have been track limits for sure.
Yeah, nearly had a brush with the barrier there, which is not ideal to say the least. As Debigny is gonna really try and push as hard as possible on this lap. They really did get up there, 53.7, which is still faster than some of the drivers. I mean, Debigny is just an insanely quick driver in this Audi TT. Makes me wonder if he's ever what other experience he has. Maybe he's an actual Audi TT touring car driver in real life, and we just don't know it.
Well, whether he is or not, he's definitely quick here.
100%.
You see the car getting air there.
Yeah, the front wheel's getting lifted up. It is an insanely quick track with lots of elevation change, which definitely makes it one of the more interesting tracks on the calendar, and in my opinion, one of the most interesting American tracks. As Debigny takes pole position one more time. This time the gap is a lot bigger. It's nearly 1/10 and a half to White. Seems like taking the previous lap a little bit slower, letting the tyres cool down, might have just been able to give them the advantage they needed. On board now with White, who is trying to push again to take back pole position. Again, still starting on the front row, so they do have a decent chance into the first turn. But it's all about trying to maximise the track, and making overtakes here could be difficult, so qualifying could really be a deciding factor. But I think if the drivers behind have enough confidence and they can really set things up quite well, I'd say Lime Rock is a really good track for learning the basics of racing, because there are so many corners around here that just test different aspects of a driver, their car, a little bit of everything really. So it makes it a simple track to learn that will teach you kind of roughly what you need to know about racing. I think it's why you see it a lot in iRacing Rookies series. You might see it in the Mazda Spec series in iRacing, because I think it's just a really solid track to start out with. Widen that gap even more. It's now 2
into the
tenths of a
pits
second.
White goes. That was a very fast pit entry. I hope they don't have limiters or like pit speed limits here.
Well, I don't know if they matter in qualifying. I don't know how AC handles pit speeding penalties. I know ACC is relatively harsh with them. And I know that during quali in ACC, you can go up to, I think, 70 kilometers an hour in the pit lane without Wooly off, as Larson, I think that is, going up the inside. Wooly. Yeah, Wooly off into the barrier, and back to the pit lane they go. I think it was Larson. Looking at the inside of Wooly, I think maybe he gave him a little bit of a fright into the first corner. Or, sorry, the last corner. Which is technically the first corner if you drive the track backwards, as Larson goes right off into the grass and has to reset to the pit lane. They might get a few more chances at setting a decent lap, but Debigny is not giving up anytime soon. first corner they go. That previous lap, again, very, very fast. And you can see there's really no room for mistakes here around Lime Rock. You've got these... You've just got grass either side of the track, flashing the cars ahead, trying to let them know he's there. There's the pink car just ahead. He doesn't seem too happy about maybe being held up by them, keeping those wheels just on the white line, flying through the last two corners, and it seems like he's backed off to try and give himself a bit more space on this last lap, with just about, I think it's nearly a minute and a half to go. No, well, just a minute to go. So these drivers
everyone has
will
time for one lap right
chance.
now. However, there's quite a lot of people in the pits also, so I think that these people are not going to be taking another lap today. However, a lot of people are still out, so let's see what they can do.
Definitely. I think I saw Debini sliding a little bit through the first corner. We're going back to Wooly now, who is just trying to set as good a lap as possible. I think maybe a little dab of the brakes over the crest to try and keep the car stabilised through the last corner, which we want to take flat out, as Wooly does not improve on that. Oh, wait, no, hold on. Yeah, no, they get one more lap, I think. Just about 10 seconds to go. Debini is going to be coming across the line, and I think they're going to be our first driver to finish setting their lap, unless... Well, I can't tell.
Into the pits they go.
He has bailed, which is unfortunately... well, I say unfortunately, they're still P1 by a quarter of a second. So you see Maitland now coming through to take their final lap, and off the track they go.
Ooh.
Right into the barrier. That's going to hurt
like it
the
would have been
morning.
painful.
Definitely. And I would have definitely damaged the radiator, so not a good crash from them. It's a 53-1 from Wooly, who has managed to put themselves into P5 with that really colourful kind of neon-looking Audi. We've got Bunton, who is going to be coming through turn number 6, cresting the hill into the downhill of turn 7, flat out through that final corner, trying to use that white line and ride it as much as possible, using all the space in the exit, full throttle all the way to the finish line. It's a 53.6, moving up to P13 for Bunton. It's a personal best for the driver. Excellent qualifying from them. Don't know if anyone else has their time going. Kalevala,
I think everyone else is in the pits now.
Yeah, so I think this is our grid for the race. We have Debini in P1 with a 52.1, absolutely flying lap time. And if we are comparing that to real-world lap records, a 52.1 would put them just past the Ford Mustang Trans Am from the 2023 Trans Am series. So these cars are blisteringly quick around here. There are lots of other cars, of course, that are even faster. The fastest cars to go around the circuit are IMSA GTPs from the early 90s, the Toyota Eagle, by Juan Manuel Fangio II, the 45.1. Again, these Audis are no slouches around this track. And I'm very excited to see what our drivers have got lined up during the race. Debini on pole again by a pretty significant margin, with White lining up alongside. It looks relatively similar to last round. Do you reckon there'll be any changes up and down the grid? How do you reckon drivers will fare during the race?
I don't know. We'll have to see how the ballast affects this race, because I believe last race Wooly might have had the most ballast. Because Debini didn't participate in the first race, if I'm not mistaken. But now Debini has the biggest ballast of 75 kilos. So we'll see how it goes. I think it will be pretty close. It's been pretty close previously. With White, Larson, and Wooly all like fighting for the podium. So yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. You mentioned other cars that go around this. I'm thinking what probably would be the best car to like do this circuit would I'm thinking is the Ford Legends.
Ford Legends would definitely, I think, would be really fun to do around here. There are a lot of, I mean, again, iRacing seems to really, really like this track. Especially in rookies, you'll see a lot of new drivers and a lot of those kind of lower class series around Lime Rock Park a lot. You'll see things like the Skippies, you'll see the Mazda Miatas going around this track as well. You know, there are plenty of cars that you can see going around here in lots of other sims. I think if we wanted to be the most comparative, there are still, I think, touring car races that go around here, and fastest time I could find there was in 2018, a 54.1 in the Hyundai i30N. I'm not sure if these are exactly the same as like TCR regulations and stuff. But there are plenty of different races going on. We've got things at this track specifically. You've got the Trans Am series, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck series. There's the Leuna 150 and the ARCA series as well, where they do the Lime Rock Park 100. And I don't know if that's 100 miles or 100 laps of Lime Rock Park, but it is a from what I can see here,
similar distance.
Yeah, definitely, and it is the US's third oldest continuously operating road racing track, behind Road America and Willow Springs. So, very, very traditional track. And I think much like those other two, Road America and Willow Springs, the actual layout, I think, has not really changed at all. I know there are a few different layouts that include chicanes and other bits that are designed to slow the cards down. But the rough distance for each of those tracks is about 1.5 miles, about 2.4 kilometers. So I'm very excited to see what these drivers have for us. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how they can handle this track and this race.
Absolutely,
as we
yeah.
head into the race.
Yeah, we've got about another 30 seconds until they head into the race. They're all just applying their setups, I guess. It looks like most people are ready now, but I guess you need to wait for the server to go brew.
Yeah, definitely. And with I mean, I'm not used to racing in Assetto Corsa. I think I've only ever done one Assetto Corsa race before. And it was a meme race. Occasionally, some of my communities that I'm in decide to do little joke races, where they're like, "Let's just race some silly cars around a track." And well, we're about to go green. I'll tell that story later, as we finally go green for round 3, first race here at Lime Rock Park. 20 minutes of pure Audi action, with Debigny covering off the inside, White looking to the outside, trying to make the move stick. Can't, as Debigny is already trying to pull out a bit of a gap. Larson in P3 with is that Calavala or is that Maitland in? That's Maitland in P4 there. All of our drivers are really, really trying to push as hard as they can. But I think it's mostly the same as it was. White looking for an overtake coming up into turn number 5. He might have to be later on the brakes, trying to scare Debigny, maybe even in the wall a little there, looking so much for that move up the inside, really just letting Debigny know he's in his mirrors, but the Frenchman is not blinking as we come through turn number 7. The top 4, I think mostly as they were, with Debigny followed by Larson, followed by White, then Larson and Maitland. Larson defends to the inside, and that is Maitland to the outside, maybe looking for a bit of a switchback later on the corner. Coming into turn number 2, can't make the switchback happen, but he's right on the back of the Australian driver. Maitland in the McLaren coloured Audi. really hounding Larson for the position. Larson unsettles the car a little bit on the inside curb, but I think that might actually be the faster way to take it. Coming up through turn number 5 as we have De Dios down the grid in the number 16 Anime Audi. Goldsmith making up some ground into P15 now. Calavala just ahead in P14, chasing down the black, white and red car of, I believe that is Bent just ahead. Maitland looks to the inside, Larson defends, shows Maitland the outside, he says thank you very much, I'll be taking that, tries hanging his car around the outside of turn number 1, barely able to keep it on the track. Larson of course has the faster line there. White has now made an overtake for the lead as well, so he's going to try and get that gap as high as they possibly can. It's going to be a really tricky fight for the lead, as Maitland is still applying pressure to Larson in P3. There's battles all the way up and down the grid. The McLaren-coloured Audi seems to be falling off at the back of Larson just a little bit, as we can see a lot of the other drivers really, really close, but the gaps are already starting to form as we're approaching the end of the second lap. White defends the inside, Debigny looks to the outside line. White parks himself in the middle of the track, gets himself a little bit wide, bundles Debigny wide as well. Looked to the outside line, was kind of shuffled out a little bit wide, but I think that was mostly their own doing, unfortunately. Still trying to push as much as possible. White trying to pull out all the stops to keep his car ahead. Larson, again, just behind, getting pressured from Maitland, but his fight for the lead is still going on. Maitland applying some more pressure, trying to use all of the track, trying to make sure Larson knows he's there in his mirrors, trying to just get in his head. I'd say about 50% of racing is just mind games, as Larson does go off the track. It is definitely going to slow them down onto the straight, as Maitland looks to the right hand side, maybe might have the overspeed, doesn't have the overspeed, tucks back into the slipstream, goes to the left hand side. Larson defends way too aggressively, ends up going onto the grass, a little bit of contact between the two. Maitland also running his left hand tyres into the grass there. We can see the number 105 just behind of, I believe that's Perkins, who's currently trying to pressure Woolley in P5, with Hughes just behind a three-way battle now for P5 that we're seeing. Maitland has fallen off the back of Larson a little bit, but this fight for the 5th position is just continuing. Again, up and down the grid, there is so much action going on. I'm not sure how I'll have any moments to breathe. We're already almost 5 minutes into this race, and I feel like I just haven't stopped talking.
When there's contact between Hughes and Perkins, Perkins manages to keep it in the track though.
Yeah, just about. I mean, contact is, some people say rubbing is racing. I think most of those people are in NASCAR. Not sure how well that applies here. But yeah, a little bit of a tap there. Nothing bad came of it, but our drivers are going to have to be very, very careful and just make sure they can, well, hopefully keep their cars on the track and out of each other. And more importantly, I suppose, out of the walls. As Perkins is still trying to apply that pressure to Woolley. The gaps have opened up slightly, but Woolley is keeping it going, trying to open up that gap to Perkins. Hughes behind, trying to apply pressure in the black and yellow Audi, and hopefully he will be able to whiz right past there, coming through turn number 7, really just trying to maximise the amount of exit speed, I think is the key there. Perkins parks the car in the middle of the track. Hughes looks to the inside. Perkins does go a little bit wide. Hughes might be able to get it just on the exit as Perkins off the road, having to go rallying. Again, the grass is incredibly slippery here, so this could be a really sketchy rejoin. Joins just ahead of Hughes and gets another bit of contact, another massive bit of contact. That's Perkins into the wall as Hughes. Oh, we've got another car off in the back. I believe that is Tom from...
That's Calavala.
No, that's Calavala. Calavala's gone off, reversing onto the track, rejoining as safe as they possibly can. But that was a very odd incident between Perkins and I believe that was Hughes. yeah, who had made that contact. But the battle for the lead is still ongoing. White just trying to bundle Debigny wide by parking the car in the middle of the track, letting him look to the outside, and then almost shutting that door in his face. Debigny's still right on the back of him, though, so he's applying a lot of pressure. Again, racing, it's all about getting in the other driver's head. I mean, also about how quick you drive, but if you are chasing a car and you can apply that pressure and you can really just play those mind games with them, that is how you're ultimately going to beat them. It's not only a game of pure performance, but also a little bit of psychological warfare now and then, never hurt anyone. As the top two are barely separated. They're going neck and neck, wheel to wheel, down the front straight. Debigny with the overspeed on the inside of White, makes the overtake before the corner even happens. White maybe looking for a bit of an overspeed, and there's contact in the first corner. Debigny keeps it going, but that is White who's managed to get back into the first place. Debigny with the contact. Unfortunate for them, that's opened up the gap to P1 a little bit more. They're going to have to push really, really hard now to try and get that back.
Well, they have 12 minutes to do it, and a clear road up ahead. I think it's doable. However, that might have ruined their mind space now. They might be a bit too tilted. I don't know.
Yeah, I think having that contact, it does put you off, and you do start seeing the, I don't want to say that red mist, because it makes it sound like you're going to do awful things. But you do kind of start driving in anger if you get involved in one of those incidents. And again, racing is so much about psychology and just being able to kind of put that to the back of your head and just be like, right, that happened, let's move on. I think Debigny's going to try and just brush off that incident and just see where they can go. As Bunton sets a personal best as they've done their fastest lap. We've got Zurek in P8 in the Traxion car, just behind O'Leary in P7, trying to put on as much pressure as they can in order to try and get that move done for P7. It's looking a little bit wide. O'Leary goes riding the curb at turn number 5, the uphill through West Bend number 6 and the downhill of 7. Really just trying to maximise the track, using a little bit of the inside curve to help turn the car, and using as much space on the outside to just carry that exit speed, using that slipstream ahead as well to maximise your top speed. As we can see, Debigny has again already closed the gap to White down to just under a second. He's going to be piling the pressure on for the last 10 minutes of this first race. I believe after this we have a second race, and it is reverse grid. So,
but only for the top 10. It's only reverse grid for the top 10.
I see.
So that means people in something like 11th or 12th place, they really want to be chasing down Adam Bent here for that 10th place to get that pole position for the next one.
Yeah, so it's based on the finishing order for this race.
Yes.
Is where the people start. Okay, I see. Right. You can see just how much preparation I've done before this. Ben is kind of the man to beat for everyone who's down in the grid, because it'll give them a really decent advantage into this next race. And some of our faster drivers who are going to finish further up are going to have a lot more work to do. Debigny looking to the inside for turn number 6. Again, he doesn't go for it, but he is just getting in White's mirrors, trying to apply that pressure to him. Just trying to, again, just getting in his head and trying to make that move, trying to use the speed of that Audi TT. He is to the inside again. White knew what happened the last time. Debigny was to the inside, opens up the steering. Debigny goes over the curb, and it looks like he might have just made that move stick. Very, very good move from there. White looks like he might have the overspeed on the exit. Looks up the inside for turn number 3. Debini on the outside, which will turn the inside for turn number 4. And there's more contact between them. White bundled wide by Debini. Another bit of contact between the leading pair as the black and gold car heads up into first place. White down into second. Again, these top two are not even leaving each other an inch on the track. They are really trying to push each other as hard as they can go.
Now White is starting to get maybe slightly pressured by Larson. I mean, Larson's dropping back a little, but for a moment it looked like Larson was really catching up to White, and then that would have had White worried, because all of a sudden he would have lost 2 positions in the space of 1 lap.
Yeah, which is something that White definitely does not want to happen, but Larson is still there. The gap is just less than a second, so Larson could definitely still be in a chance to have a really, really good result there. The Australian driver already on the podium, and if Debini might have any more contacts with each other, this might just give Larson the opportunity that they need to win this race.
White has now dropped outside of a second of Debini. Larson about a second behind. Let's see further down the grid though. Adam Bent, 5 tenths, 4 tenths behind Bunton. Maybe looking to get an overtake here, even though staying in 10th would probably be better points-wise, considering the next race.
Yeah, definitely. Our drivers are gonna. I think they have to be thinking about both and trying to mitigate the risks of, if I can finish 10th in this race, I start first in the next one. Can I defend hard enough to maybe keep those really high points-paying positions? I don't know if the points are the same for the standard and reverse grid races, or if the points are slightly different between the two. Regardless, starting on the pole for the reverse grid is really going to be helpful. Bunton.
Oh, and that's someone in the wall.
That's a car off. That is.
They don't know.
They don't know. I mean, I certainly don't. As they're just recovering now. I don't know if they're getting lapped. They have a. Is that 25-second gap to the next car or 25 seconds? Yes. As Zurek goes slightly off, a couple of wheels in the grass there. Ben putting a lot of pressure on Bunton, looking to the outside for turn number 3. Can't make that stick. Bunton parks it in the middle of the road. Goldsmith sets his personal fastest lap. Ben really trying to apply some pressure here to Bunton, who is driving that Audi incredibly well, positioning the car brilliantly. A little bit wide there through the uphill of 5. Larson has gotten into 2nd place somehow. I think we've missed it. Maybe White has had an off somewhere. It looks like he's had a problem. He's dropped 3-4 positions now. There's a Xavi is going up the inside for the first corner. I think White has had some sort of an issue there, maybe an off or something hardware related.
Yeah, I think so.
Maitland currently pressuring Woolley, who's for 3rd. White makes a move on a Xavi, as you just saw in the back of the frame there. Maitland looks to the inside, doesn't do anything about it, but that's just put Woolley off a little bit. Took too much of that inside curb, and now he's looking at the inside. Maitland up the inside at turn number 7. Absolutely fantastic move there. White is going to try and use a slipstream. We could go 2 by 2 down here. Xavi looking to the outside. Woolley looking to the outside for turn number 7 as Maitland goes over the curb. Woolley keeping it, hanging it around the outside, using all that space. Into the grass he goes, but I think he might have barely made that move. Maitland just barely alongside him, and yeah, Woolley has managed to make that move back for P3, but this is a 4-way battle for the final podium position here between Woolley, Maitland, White and Xavi. So I'm really excited to see just how much Maitland can push in this final section. Woolley having a bit of an off, and it looks like there's been a bit of a spin for Maitland behind, who goes into the wall, and that has really thrown a spanner in the works for him. I think White might have barely gone off, and I think it's spun Maitland around. I think he's forgotten this is front-wheel drive, and you can't flick turn these as well as you can on other cars, unfortunately. It has put a Shelby up into the fight for P3 now, though. The BWT Racing Point looking Audi battling with Woolley for the final position on the podium. He's really trying to maximise the track as much as possible, looking for any tiny opportunity, zeroing up into P5. White is falling all the way down to P7 as well. So we're just looking at the fight here for P3. Again, the top two basically untouchable, as Woolley has a 10.5-second gap to P2. And in a race that is barely 20 minutes, in a race that's just about 20 minutes long, having a gap that is that large is pretty substantial. Losing about half a second a lap to the car ahead. We shall be really trying to maximise the track as much as they can. Again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing some of these last names correctly. Please do let me know if I'm not. I am an ignorant
think it's pretty
British man.
close.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Ashavi or Ashavi or whatever else.
I think it's Ashavi. At least that's how I've heard it pronounced.
Yeah, I am an ignorant British man, and I don't know how to pronounce surnames that are not natively British, unfortunately. But you know what? I'm always willing to learn, so please let me know if I am pronouncing your surname incorrectly, and I'll do my best to try and improve as Ashavi goes off at turn number 6, but that hasn't deterred them at all. I mean, the gap between himself and Woolley has opened up slightly, but not nearly enough to warrant not giving it a go. Just about 2 minutes remaining in this race, as Davigny is still leading, opening up that gap to Larson, nearly 1.5 seconds. It looks like either Davigny has really been pushing or Larson's made some sort of mistake, because that gap has opened up significantly. Now at 1.9 seconds, so either Davigny's turned on the boosters, or Larson has made some sort of error.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't think it should be an issue with tyres. The tyres should be lasting quite a long time. I don't remember what the drivers were saying last week about the tyre lifespan, but I don't remember any complaints.
Yeah, I mean, the race is just about 20 minutes long, so the drivers' tyres should be good to push all the way. So we see Hughes making a move on Bunton, who's fallen down at P10, which will be the reverse grid pole, of course, with the grid finder car maybe starting in pole position for the reverse grid race. As we can see Ashavi really trying to put on the pressure to Woolley, basically pushing him through these last few corners, the final sector of the track. Very, very quick corners. And yeah, I mean, they are pushing as hard as they possibly can right now. Looking to the outside, Woolley defending, putting the car right in the middle.
And Charles Perkins, DNF'd in the pits.
That's Perkins out of the race. Unfortunate for them. They looked like they were having a really, really good race. They might have either some sort of mechanical failure, but leader has 2 laps to go. I think this is, what is this, 20 minutes plus 1 lap?
Yes.
I see. As Ashley is on the back now of Woolley, just trying to push as hard as they can to keep it all going, to keep everything running nice and smooth, as they are flat out through the final corner. Wooly is, I think, feeling the pressure a little bit, runs very wide. I should be using the slipstream to pull themselves alongside around the outside for turn number 1, which we have seen can be really advantageous if you get it just right. Looking for the cutback on the exit, but Wooly parks it just on the apex. Ashravi unable to make that move, but they are really putting that pressure on. Zurek now on the back. Leader now on the final lap, as the Racing Point Audi is pushing as hard as they possibly can to get Wooly's position to get onto the final step of the podium. I mean, there is such a small gap between the two, and Dubigny wins the race, with Larson finishing up in second. It's this fight for P3 that we are really, really looking at, with Ashavi just to the line, Wooly barely managing to beat them. A really, really small gap between the two. Zurek P5, O'Leary 6th. White falls down from second, finishing 7th for them, which is really unfortunate. Bent in 8th place, Hughes in 9th, Goldsmith in reverse grid pole in 10th, with Wraith in 11th, Maitland in 12th, the Dios in 13th. We've got Kalevala in 14th, Bunton falling down to 15th place, TRM in 16th, They Don't Know in 17th, and Perkins with a unfortunate DNF finishing in 18th place. And that will round off the grid as we reverse the top 10, ready for the second race for this race weekend.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely fantastic race there, I think. I'm just going to take a note of who won and stuff, so we know who to get in for interviews later. But yeah, I mean, that was pretty exciting. It got a lot more exciting towards the end there, with lots of overtakes, lots of crashes. And yeah, I don't have much else to say. It was just pretty good racing and very close, a lot of it.
Yeah, I feel like I couldn't breathe for most of that race. I feel like I was just constantly talking about all the action happening on track. You know, Lime Rock does tend to produce really good racing in cars that are maybe not the quickest or not the largest. It's why I think iRacing, you have a lot of these like these Mazda Miatas and other kind of slower, almost street cars that are driving in this track. Because I mean, I think it just suits those smaller cars that have much more of a focus on mechanical grip. You know, there's lots of fast flowing corners. You've got all the elevation changes. It's a real challenge, not only for the drivers but also the car itself. I mean, putting it through its paces, using those curbs a lot. I think if you use the curbs even slightly wrong, you'll get thrown right into the barrier. And I don't think anyone really wants to be meeting Barry R today, though
Yeah,
I have heard he is a lovely bloke.
Yeah, well, whilst we're waiting here for the second race, shall we have a word from our sponsors from Gridfinder?
Indeed we shall.
And yes, thank you for Gridfinder for sponsoring this. Great site for finding loads of racing stuff to do across multiple different games. Go check them out. But yes, we are here, still waiting for the second race to begin. And yeah, so we're going to be having... Oh, I don't know what happened. I think Goldsmith in pole position there, right? Yeah.
Goldsmith,
so
reverse grid
Hughes, Bent, White, O'Leary, Zurich, Ashavi. Yeah, mate, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Just tell me.
Yeah,
Wooly, Larson, and Dobigny. So last time we saw Dobigny, I think, come from 10th to 3rd, almost actually winning, but I think they had a moment at the end where Well, actually, I don't remember. Maybe they did win, and someone else had a moment. Anyway, they made it from the back to the front. So yeah, we'll see what they can do today with the 75 kg ballast, as opposed to everyone else on the grid who doesn't have quite as big of a ballast. But we've seen the pace from the Bigny today already, and I think we're about to see a lot of overtaking.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, reverse grids always spice up the race. I think a full reverse grid would just add more chaos. I think reverse top 10 is probably the perfect balance between ensuring people still get overtakes and also meaning drivers who can successfully defend for a whole race, and who are really, really good at driving under the pressure. They still have a really good chance of finishing quite high if they can put their car in the right place. But it's also going to kind of invoke a lot of smart driving from a lot of the cars that are maybe coming from a little bit further back, in an attempt to maybe try and get a win. I think definitely Dabinyi has a really good chance of maybe winning this from 10th place. But all we can do now is wait and see what our drivers can do.
Yeah, so they're lining up on the grid now. I think there's still just over 2 minutes until we go racing. So, do you have any more fun facts for us?
Well, let me pull up the Wikipedia page and I will let you know. So, the track was previously owned by Skip Barber, who started the Skip Barber Racing School back in the 70s, and he owned Lime Rock from 1984 until April 2021. And now it is owned by a licensed company called Lime Rock Group that bought it from him. It's probably why you see a lot of the Formula Skippies, I think, around this track, almost like a tribute to the late and great Skip Barber, who, he was kind of a legend in the American racing scene and kind of helped a lot of drivers kind of find their feet, learn how to race. The track itself was built in the Berkshire Mountains, part of the Appalachian Mountain Range, and the famous Appalachian Trail hiking route passes by the circuit on the ridgelines visible from the track about half-mile to the east. As well as that, cool. Since the track is really old, it has 0 grandstands, and it instead invites fans to bring their own chairs and blankets and enjoy the racing from the grassy hillsides under the shade of the local trees, which I think is really nice. It kind of keeps that historic feeling, which is why we also see some historic racing happening here, including the Trans Am Memorial Day Classic racing. And in September's, you'll see the Lime Rock Historic Festival. And I think in this month as well, you have the Sports Car Vintage Racing Association Lime Rock Speed Tour, which I don't actually know when it is. Some point this month, it might have already happened, but I think it's a really great way for the track to celebrate the heritage that it has in American motor racing.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're just about to get going here. I believe most drivers are ready, so let's switch over and see when the lights turn on.
Here we go then, as we go for 6 red lights, which feels weird to say, as we go green for the second race. Reverse grid Goldsmith off of pole position. The number 28 is defending the inside from the black and yellow car, looking around the outside. Goldsmith trying to defend as much as possible. Hughes is really trying to push Bent, looking to the inside, manages to make that move. White already up in a P3. Hughes falling down a lot of positions. We've had a car off. Zurek currently with Ashavi just alongside, trying to make that move as quick as possible. Woolley even trying to follow him through. There's a bit of contact, and there is a pretty large crash there for Ashavi, who has gone off the track.
Oh,
we have multiple cars
backwards.
Yeah, that's TRM. I think we've even got Tom involved there, Tom Bunton from Gridfinder, who is involved in that crash. Pretty large accident there on the first lap. We have a car in the pit lane.
That's just me, thank you.
That's you, never mind. We have... I don't know if we have damage on for this series.
We do.
Assetto Courses. I see. I know Assetto, of course, the damage model is a little bit strange compared to some of the some other simulators. Goldsmith is really trying to hold up James White here. That bright blue car really standing out against James White's own entry. With I think BUSR has this kind of patterning that we're using on a lot of the liveries, which I think made the cars look so nice. Kind of accentuating the shapes of the car. Love liveries like that. Goldsmith still holding them off. Bent goes really far into the grass, and they've kind of compromised their line into this next corner. Larson making their way through the grid as well, up into P7, just past Debigny, who's also looking for that move on Aiden Larson. Goldsmith setting the best lap of the race, or their best lap of the race so far. You know, every driver is really trying to maximise the time here. Debigny looking for the move. Can't make it happen just yet, but he is glued to the back of Aiden Larson's Audi. The two drivers neck and neck, really looking to go for that overtake. Debigny looks for it into turn number 5, which I think would have been a pretty silly spot to make the overtake, but it would have been really impressive to see on the exit. I think they've just managed to scare Aiden just enough. They can go up the inside at turn number 6. Larson keeps it side by side through to number 7 they go. Larson's going to have the wider line as to try and get more speed, but Debigny manages to make that move really nicely, opens up the gap for Zurek just behind. He was going to try and make that move. Brilliant move for the Frenchman. Zurek tucks in just behind. Again, you can see this kind of line that a lot of drivers are taking, hitting that first apex at a big bend, going wide, and then cutting back into the exit. Through the S as we go now with Hughes on the back of Bent, the battle for P3, with 5 different cars all involved at the same time. We've got Bent barely holding off Hughes, who's looking to the inside for turn number 6. Looks like he might just be able to make that move stick. There's a bit of contact. Bent bundled out wide. Woolley going drifting as well. Maitland up the side makes that move. Woolley, that Maitland gets a really loose on the exit of that corner. Woolley goes right past. There's another bit of contact.
Trying to send Maitland into the pits
so much happening. Yeah, not a very fun move there that we've seen. There's more contact as Maitland absolutely wallops the inside curb and smacks into the side of Woolley. Larson also going off there. Side by side with Debigny they go, and I think the Frenchman has really just made use of all of that chaos to get themselves up into P5. Maitland still looking for that move up the inside at turn number 5. Are we going to see the impossible done? It looks like it. Maitland makes the move into turn number 5. Debigny looking at the inside. Maitland defends. The Frenchman to the outside, trying to cut back on the exit for turn number 7, using all of that space. Maitland through the final corner. Debigny on his rear bumper, looks to the inside. Maitland defends really harshly, but Debigny's still there. He's looking the inside at turn number 1. Maitland has a little bit of a lock-up, it seems. He's led by Debigny, and there's more! There's more contact between Maitland and Zurek. That's that Audi that looks like that McLaren is seemingly magnetic to all the other cars. Lots and lots of contact there. Unlucky for Maitland, it seems. Zurek falls down into P13. Unlucky for the Traction Racing car. He's looking at the outside now of Adam Bent for P5.
The stewards are going to be busy tonight.
Definitely. Around the outside at turn number 5, Maitland's still hanging it around the outside of Bent. Perkins just trying to get involved there in P7. And from the DNF, I think they might have started at the back of the grid for this race, but all the way up to P7, we're going 2 by 2 into the last corner with Larson looking to make their way past Woolley, using that slipstream just ahead of them to try and get a bit of a boost. Ultimately, that's not going to work out for them as Bent to the inside, drifting through the first corner. I think there was a little bit of door between himself and Maitland. Larson just makes his way up past Woolley, and there's more contact as Larson goes into the grass, tries to rejoin safely, just about does so in front of the car of O'Leary. There's more contact with the Audi, with the Anime Audi of De Dios off and into the wall they go. Unfortunately, they did not have the power of God and anime on their side for this time. Gone right into the wall there. Wooly is still racing as hard as they can. Ashabi just behind, trying to maximise the speed through the corners. They are... I mean, there is just so much chaos happening. We're not even halfway through the race yet.
In all that time, Dabigny has made us up to 4th place now. About 6 seconds behind.
Yeah, 6 or 7
at the
seconds
moment.
off the lead there. Yeah. So, I mean, this is definitely possible for Dabigny to make up. I mean, they've got a clear track ahead of them, so it's really just going to be about hot lapping and trying to dispatch of the cars ahead as quick as possible. White currently leading, Goldsmith down by about 2 seconds. Wooly trying to make another move on Ashavi, with Maitland still pushing really hard. Bent, Perkins and Maitland all in a fight for 5th position. I think Maitland might have just set up their car with really stiff suspension, because I've seen a lot of these other cars taking the curbs a lot easier, and Maitland just seems to be bouncing over the curbs every time they take them, which I think might be a reason why they've had so much trouble trying to keep out of contact. And, well, as I say that, commentator's curse, I do apologise, as he gets sent round at turn number 1. We've had way more contact. Zurek hits Ashavi, who's gone off the track, spinning. I think all prompted by Perkins taking a bit too much curb, sending them a little bit wide there. Maitland in P8 with O'Leary just behind. Larson still trying to make their way through the grid. Again, reverse grids are really just an arbiter of chaos, as Perkins is making their way up through the grid now. P6, I think, I believe they started like last place, or at least close to there.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Round. But up to P6 is a fantastic effort from them. And
avoided all the chaos.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing here, is if you can avoid the chaos and make moves like that up the inside of Bennett turn number 1, you can really just get yourself in a really good position. As someone who's still learning sim racing, I say that after driving for about 2 years, you know, it can become an issue of not knowing, you know, how to avoid these crashes or how to be consistent. But having that awareness is just such a good skill to have. As Bunton looking to the inside of London, who's still trying to carry a lot of that speed. He's not really alongside, but he is trying to get his nose up there. Maitland barely hanging on to P9. He's got a bit of a train starting to form behind him. Larson applying so much pressure here in this final section of the track as we go right down the straight. Larson trying to use the slipstream from Wooly. Maitland manages to make, and Wooly is falling down the order. I think he might have some damage from some of the earlier
I think he might. You can see on
race.
the front end and on the back, I think he's got some pretty severe damage probably. We can't see it, but I'd suspect some suspension damage, and I don't know what else. I don't know what gets damaged in Assetto Corsa. I have never driven it.
I believe it is things like some engine components can get damaged. So there might be a little bit of radiator damage, potentially. Suspension could definitely be damaged. But, I mean, it's nothing a bit of zip ties and duct tape won't fix. Larson through the final corner, really just trying to push as hard as they can to climb as many positions as possible. Just about half a second off the back of Maitland, who's really trying to use that more open track ahead of them to their advantage. Again, Lime Rock, it's such a track that demands pure focus and concentration, and just really nailing every single corner every single time. It's those tiny little mistakes that the drivers can make that will really make a lot of difference. Dabigny now right on the back of Hughes. I mean, I don't know how good Hughes is at defending, but with the pace that we've seen Dabigny show, it's a matter of if and not... Oh, it's not a matter of if, but when you get overtaken. The Flying Frenchman looks to the outside at turn number 1. Can they make it sick? I mean, they've still got wheel alongside. Just about. They've just lost it there to Hughes. Looked for the switchback, couldn't make it work, but through the S's they go. using all of the curbs on the inside of turn number 3, trying to open up the car a little bit more. Through 4 and 5 they go up the through the uphill section, using, again, they seem to be using a lot of the curb, just trying to minimize the distance that they are driving on this track, trying to pile the pressure onto Hughes, who is doing a very, very good job at keeping their car ahead of Debigny. But looking at the amount of speed that the Frenchman got out of that last turn, up the inside they go. I don't think he's gotten alongside, but if he can get slightly later on the brakes, he looks up the inside of Hughes, who doesn't put up much of a fight. Well, in fact, he's put up so little of a fight that he's decided to go rally instead. And up
Yeah, that's
to
not an
P3
ideal line to
goes
be
to
taking
Bigny.
here.
No, definitely not. I mean, maybe it's a Joker lap. I don't know. As Debigny up into 3rd place, they've got about a 4-second gap to Goldsmith ahead, and with about 7 minutes left, Debigny is definitely at least on the podium, unless I make a big mistake. Larson is making their way past. I don't know, and there's another bit of a spin there. More contact. Round and around goes the Anime Aston. Zurek in P11. I believe that was that Wraith or the Dios that had been
I am
spun
not sure. I couldn't
around
find
there.
the car.
Yeah, well, whoever they were, they seem to have recovered again. But there was a pretty big spin there. The Dios looks like he made up a couple of positions there too. Maitland down into P12, and well, that's Button going. Well, sorry, Cannavale going right off. Ashevi going up the inside of the number 123 Grid Finder Audi. And so we've got the other Grid Finder Audi of Bunton looking up the inside. I believe this is traffic that we're seeing here. Just the kind of, oh, another car going off there. I can't see who that is. They're just out of frame. Ashevi's still trying to push and get past this lapped car. Again, I mean, it is a short track. You have very fast drivers and some drivers that maybe aren't as quick as, I think that's another Audi rallying a little bit on the exit. Ooh! As they go onto the curb on the inside, bundle Ashevi wide. That's opened the door for Cannavale to get up into P12. Zurek looking at the inside too, also going off, which lets Ashevi back past at turn number 6, and through 7 they go. Zurek is really going to try and just find as much time as they can as we approach the final 6 minutes of this race. White leading Goldsmith by about 1.5 seconds. Debigny trying to close that gap as much as they can, as Zurek looks like they might have had a bit of a lock up into the first corner. Tyres maybe a little bit dirty or a little bit cooked potentially. Maitland on the back of Bunton, really trying to make as much of a move as they can, just really pushing quite hard to make sure they can try and gain just one more position, finishing in the top 10. Even after all the chaos earlier in the race, could be really good for Maitland, though I'm not sure if they'd hold it, what with all the potential stewarding that might be happening later on tonight. As we see Bunton on the inside, Maitland looking for the move, can't make it happen just yet, but he is trying to get into his head, trying to make that move as quick as they possibly can to try and dispatch them, and maybe to push a little bit harder to get the other drivers. But I do believe Maitland could have a little bit of damage on the car. They have been involved in a fair few little taps, so it could just be very slight amounts of damage. As he looks to the inside of Bunton, he leaves the gap open, but has that momentum, keeps the car ahead. Through the final corner they go. Bunton just about keeping it within the track limits. I hope that curb counts as the track limits, and it's not the white line. There's Maitland to the outside, and there's more contact. Bunton barely keeps the car going. There was a little bit of a touch there. That inside curve at turn 1, seeming to be really deadly to all of our drivers, has now made their move up into P11 on Maitland. After that contact, bundles The driver just wide. Larson now looking for a move on O'Leary. The gap is still very, very low. We've got just about 4 minutes left of this race, and it's looking really, really interesting. White could genuinely win this race. Goldsmith about half a second behind, so we could actually see a surprise win from Goldsmith, but Debigny, don't forget, is still there. Just about 2 seconds left. The gap between Debigny and first place is Larson makes a move on O'Leary, who I think goes a little bit wide through Big Bend, and that's the Australian driver up into P7, as Maitland and Calavala still battling a bit further down the grid. Goldsmith trying to apply as much pressure to White as possible now, going on the final 3 minutes of the race, trying to use that slipstream as much as they can, and at some point they might even have to use this traffic as an opportunity to make an overtake. If these lapped cars don't behave very well, it could just give Goldsmith the advantage that he needs to get past. But don't forget about Debigny, because they are just around a second back from this battle, so really they're practically in the battle already, and with just about 2.5 minutes left to go, it's going to be a potential three-way fight for the lead as we approach the final couple of laps on this race. As Goldsmith looks to the inside of White. Remember what I said earlier? Edge Goldsmith up the inside. White holding it there. Debigny now looking for the move. Lapped car has gone out of the way, thankfully. But the top three are now even closer because of that lap traffic. Debigny looking to the inside of turn number 1 on the straight, using that slipstream from Goldsmith, trying to use the overspeed. To the outside goes Debigny, trying to make that move. Goldsmith attempting to hold that inside line. Curb on the inside, and Debigny's off! Debigny's off into the grass! That's going to open up the gap a lot more. That lap car might try and unlap themselves, but maybe they know that's probably not the best decision. That might have just put Debigny out of contention for the lead of the race.
Yeah, with not even 2 minutes to go and 2.5 seconds to make up, I think it's going to be very difficult for Debigny to get back up to the battle. White and Goldsmith are both very good drivers. They know how to defend. So even though Debigny is significantly faster, it will not be easy to overtake.
Definitely not. I think, flashing the headlights, seeming really, really displeased. I think just trying to get past these lapped cars as quick as they can. Again, even drivers who are really quick can be prone to mistakes. In different sims, we can say they are hot lappers, but I mean, Debigny has shown fantastic race pace. They've went from 10th to 3rd, with White and Goldsmith still battling for the lead too. I would regard them as quite big figures in BUSR, mostly because I remember them from my first time racing in F1 with BUSR, I think 2 or 3 years ago. White and Goldsmith barely separable by about half a second, and I mean, hats off to Debigny, who has been pushing really, really hard. They might just be able to get themselves back into this fight for the lead. Goldsmith trying to use the slipstream from White. White again doesn't have that slipstream ahead, doesn't have that kind of luxury of the lower air resistance, giving a slight boost into the top speed, as Goldsmith is following right behind James White, looking for any move that they can as we approach the final few laps of the race. Debigny is back on the rear bumper of Goldsmith and is going to try and dispatch the top 2. We've got this lap and one more to go. The lap traffic does behave really well, gets out of the way quite quickly, as Goldsmith has Debigny to worry about. Debigny looking at the inside at turn number 6, all of that inside curb. Goldsmith manages to hang it around the outside. Debigny flashing a little bit, it seems, to try and maybe put Goldsmith off. I can't tell if he is flashing or if that's just the... No, they're not flashing.
I don't think he was flashing
I would say flashing is a genuine racing tactic as long as you're not spamming it. Debigny up the inside at turn number 1 through Big Bend they go. Goldsmith tries hanging it around the outside, but Debigny manages to make their way up into second place. And as we are on the final lap of the race, we could see a 3-way fight for the lead. Debigny now 2. White barely holding on to it by about 0.2 of a second. Dabini's going to look for any opportunity that they can. Desperation might start striking as we go into turn number 5. Dabini looks to the inside. There's contact! There's contact between the Goldsmith to the inside, but Goldsmith into the lead of the race. Dabini and White get in trouble one more time. Contact between the two. Goldsmith makes their way into the lead, and as they round turn number 7, it is Owen Goldsmith taking the lead in the second race, winning in the Audi TT Cup. An absolutely fantastic performance. What a scrap at the end of the race we've seen here.
Absolutely beautiful race. Goldsmith started on pole, finished first. I don't remember where James White started, but I don't think it was second.
Yeah, White, I think, started maybe 4th-ish as Hughes goes full throttle into the barrier, which I think would probably kill the driver. But Hughes in P4, Perkins 5th, Larson 6th, Bent in P7, O'Leary in 8th, Woolley in 9th, Ashraby and Bunton in 10th and 11th, Kalevala going side by side with Bunton right at the end, finishing P12, Malin 13th, Zurek in P14, De Dios in P15, TRM in 16th, They Don't Know in 17th, and Justman NG in P18. And it looks like we had Wraith with a DNF as we see Hughes and some of the other cars having a little kiss just towards the end. And now Hughes is driving on the track. Ashraby doing those reverse donuts in the front-wheel drive Audi TT, but it has been an absolutely phenomenal race with Owen Goldsmith taking a win in the Audi TT Cup cars.
Absolutely fantastic racing there. And drivers will now be heading into a brief debriefing, and we will hopefully be speaking to them in just a moment. Top 3 from each race, if possible. So let's see. I don't know how quickly they'll be able to get in there. It looks like we've already got some in there.
Yeah, I can see a few of our drivers in the in the waiting room already for interview.
Yeah.
You have to excuse me if my head goes weird during this thing, because whenever I take a drink, it loses face tracking and things just go really janky. So, you know, if I'm quiet and I start like jittering a lot, don't worry, I'm fine. I'm just trying to stay hydrated because I can already feel myself losing my voice. I've been shouting so much over this race.
Right, well, okay, let's see who shall we speak to first. Let's speak to let's speak to Owen Goldsmith, the winner, first. I think that'll be quite easy. I think since he's already in there. Hello, Owen.
Hello, hello.
Congratulations on the race win there at the end.
Thank you.
So yeah, how would you describe the races there? Because you finished P10 in race 1, and then you managed to hold on to P1 throughout race 2. So tell us how it went.
Yeah, I'll be brutally honest, that was not expected whatsoever. Yeah, I've kind of been absent a bit in the BUSR scene. I missed round 1 and 2 of this series, as well as the first round of F1, mostly because OCD and PC are a terrible combination, and it's prevented me from actually like properly getting myself ready and everything, to the point that I actually missed qualifying today, mostly because I had to rotate my rig around my room, as well as make sure that my Fanatec settings were done, because I'm still kind of on what I want to call a live install of Windows, so I don't really have everything optimal. But I know that has absolutely nothing to do with the question, but no, for the first time driving these little cars, yes, they're front-wheel drive, and the engine, I believe, is also at the front as well, but this inherent like understeering, the way you have to drive them, it's so rewarding, and it just... they're really, really nice to drive. But no, I was surprised with the second race, especially. The first race, I was kind of figuring out where to accelerate, where to brake, what lines to take, as well as how the push-to-pass system works. I was getting a little bit confused because I was thinking it might be like Curse in the F1 games or something like that. Figured it out in the end, and then realized that, hang on, I'd be on pole for the second race due to P10. I thought that was mostly just based off of the qualifying order. I thought I would have still been dead last. But no, that it was a really satisfying race all in all. Just I had to work with these cars, get the timing down right, get the lines right, braking it, pretty much everything, and then just do the best I could, really. Mostly just here for fun. But no, I did not expect to take P1 for student as well as P1 overall.
Oh, that was a brilliant result considering you didn't do any practice today. How much air were you getting through one of the one of the crests? Yeah,
the uphill. I feel like the most I got at one point, it kind of felt like my car was doing a wheelie. That's what it felt like. My camera position is very high up, so it can skew that a tiny bit. But no, that was also one of the corners I was struggling with a lot because I didn't know whether to take it in fourth or fifth. But I think I got some air on quite a few laps when I was really pushing for it or using the push-to-pass system through.
I think unofficially we're hosting a competition to see who can get the most air through turn 5. So I think you're definitely a strong contender for it.
I should put Red Bull on my car then.
Definitely, yeah. It does give you wings legally. Legally, it gives you wings, and you can sue them if you don't get wings from it.
That's fine. I'll just rebrand to Blue Cow then. It's all fine.
Fair enough. And how would you describe Lime Rock Park to the track? How easy was it to adjust to the track today?
Yes, I mean, it's a sub 1 minute lap time for the actual track itself. I've driven this in the past as well as past games. The first time I was introduced to it was Forza 6, so I kind of had like a brief understanding because I loved it on that game. And then I believe the other like major time I've driven it was, I believe it was either Formula Fords or F3s with AC, and just getting acclimatized to that. It's quite a lot of it is either full throttle or partial lift. You barely really want to be hard on the brakes unless it's turn 1, purely for the fact of you don't want to scrub that minimum speed off. I will admit I'm not too knowledgeable with this track. As I say, the practice I've done is pretty much non-existent. I think I did I didn't even do like a valid qualifying lap. I just drove around on the outlap, let some cars through so I didn't get penalized for impeding, forgot the word there, and then just kind of went around, saw what I could see, tried to get acclimatized the best I could. Race 1 was fun to battle with. A tiny bit of argy-bargy, but that's how it is with touring cars, and no harm, no foul, really. But yeah, no, I think really it was just race 1 was my I can't speak properly, acclimatization, and then race 2 when, as I say, like unexpectedly pole position, and then with the pressure of James as well as I think it was Tom or Alex, I've forgotten the name, and then Debingy at the end just really kicked me into overdrive and was like, all right, time to lock in, do the best job you can without crashing the car.
Yeah, you did a phenomenal job out there. I'm really looking forward to seeing what else you can do throughout the season.
Yeah, I'll be back for the rest of these races. Thankfully, I've got some free time between now. I then have a shift at work tomorrow, but from then until Saturday for F1, I'm making sure my computer and my setup is to my liking, and hopefully some more consistency and some better results, really.
Yeah, well, good luck, and looking forward to seeing the next one.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for hosting the stream as well.
Thank you for speaking to us. See you
no worries.
Hopefully next week. Good luck.
See you soon. Cheers, guys.
See ya.
Right. Who do we have next? It looks like we've got Emil in P2 from race 1.
I didn't note the results down.
That's the thing. I forgot because we were meant to be doing each like class winner actually for each race, not just top 3, and I completely forgot who's in which class. We've got 3 different classes.
I think we should probably get Camille in here and see.
Yeah, I think
what
this
they've
is the
got to
open class
say.
then,
It's the open class.
Camille.
Okay.
So, yeah, let's get you in here. Hello, Camille, and congratulations on your, well, I'm assuming it's second in race 1. I'm not sure if that was class or overall, actually.
You know what? I'm not sure either. There was a chaos on that second race.
Well, how were the races? There was quite a bit of chaos in race 2, a little bit towards the end of race 1. How did you find the races?
Well, race 1 kind of felt like a hot lap server. I think I only did like 2 overtakes. But then the start of race 2 was a bit chaotic, and I think I was involved in that. So we'll see what the final standings are at the end of the 24 hours that we have. Well, no, it was really, really good. Very close races, very close battles. No, I really enjoyed it. I think it's the best one so far.
Definitely.
And yeah, go on, Free.
Yeah, so Lime Rock, difficult track. What would you say is your favorite corner or section of track? Where did you feel most comfortable in the car today?
When there's no one around, I think the last 3 corners are really fun, but the first turn into turn 1 is obviously going to be the most fun at the beginning of the race. And that's where the chaos was in race 2. So I want to say turn 1 for the favourite turn on that one.
Okay. Yep. Noted. Fantastic.
And next week we've got SWAT Cops. Will you be here for that? And are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, here for every race. Racing from the Grid Finder office, so still need to get home after every race. But it's it's really, really fun. I'm really excited, and I think we're halfway through now, so hopefully
almost
we do all right. Yeah.
Hopefully you can commute safely in your sim rig.
I will do.
Well, do we have anything else, Frey?
No, I think we're all good.
Oh, in that case, congratulations on what I'm being told is P2.
All right, thank you very much.
And good luck in the next race next week.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Right, and we only have one other person in our waiting room. We've got Aiden Larson, so let's drag him in here.
Where's Tom?
Hello, Aiden.
There we go.
Sorry for dragging you in abruptly. Congratulations on, what was it, P2?
P1. Well,
P2 and P6, I think.
Yeah. How were the races?
Pretty interesting. Race number 1, that went a lot better. That was very nice, very smooth, very enjoyable. That was luckily just a simple race to try and keep ahead of Josh. Try and maintain my position in the leads, or at least beat Josh. Race 2, though, that got a bit spicy. I think first lap there was a nice pile-up, and then, from there, just some interesting manoeuvres here and there, which definitely caused some, interesting lap positions. But hey, it's racing, and what can we say? Rubbing is racing. It is fun.
Definitely. I also noticed a lot of the drivers were taking a lot of the curb at T1, and that seemed to cause a lot of the incidents we might have seen in the second race. Would you say that is the ideal line? Was that more setup related in terms of why the cars were bouncing so much, or do you think it was just bad luck?
No, I'd say that curb is a killer, to be fair. If you clip that curb on the way in, it does send you out quite far. It does bounce the front end quite a bit. So, anyone hitting that, it's quite understandable if they went wide into someone. Best way to go around it was just avoid it.
And are you here next week?
I bloody well hope so, because I'd like to keep myself ahead of Josh.
Well, we've got SWAT Cops next week. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I have no idea. I have no idea what the track even is. But are you looking forward to that?
It's going to be an experience. I've never driven it myself. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know how it races. I don't know the lines. I got very lucky today having any pace because I didn't do any practice for today. My only practice was the last kind of half an hour of the free practice. So, this coming week, I'm going to actually have to do some practice, make sure I kind of learn off track a bit, and hopefully I can stay ahead of Josh.
Well, this no practice thing seems to be working quite well for a few drivers. So I think you'll be all right.
I will done bloody well, yep. So you never know. You never know.
Yeah. And in terms of next week, completely new track. I don't think I've seen it or even heard about it in any other sim. How do you as a driver go about acclimatizing yourself to a new track, to maybe something that's really unfamiliar? What's your learning process for getting some pace?
Well, for AC, I think I have a bit of a weird one. I usually go in and watch the AI race around it. Not only because it's a good opportunity to get pictures for the thumbnails for YouTube, but it's also just a good way to see what the AI does. That way you can get an idea for, what gears you need to be in, what speeds they're kind of taking, and then, you roughly follow their line, and then as you go, you figure out the better lines.
That's a really good idea, especially for these like really niche tracks where you can't just Google up a track guide video for your specific car and track combo. Definitely.
They are far and few between, so AI is usually the best way to go.
Cool.
Well, thank you for speaking to us. Congratulations on your race results today once again, and best of luck next week.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, I'll hopefully see you on the podium next time.
Yeah, hopefully. Good luck.
So, yeah.
Thank you very much. I'll see you later.
See ya. Good luck.
Right.
That rounds off our interviews.
Yeah, I believe it does. Any final thoughts on today's races?
I mean, I think I need to sit down. I mean, I've been sitting down, but like I need to rest my voice. I have barely taken any
Need a drink of water.
Yeah, I mean, I have my massive water bottle on my desk next to me, and I think I've barely drank out of it. The only time I've drank less water in a longer time was watching the new Mission Impossible film. Bought a bottle of water, didn't drink any of it for 3 hours. Felt awful on the way out. Film was great. Completely off topic, I know, but yeah, just so much action happening. I feel like I couldn't stop talking. So I'm not going to be surprised. I'm going to be sounding completely different for next round. I might have to get myself a new voice box, or pull a T-Pain and get that auto-tune surgery. So you never know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens at the next round.
Right, well, in that case, yeah, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to join the BUSR, then head over to busr.gg/Discord and join our wonderful community. We've got loads of events on Assetto Corsa Competizione, Formula 1 25, yeah, and EA WRC next season. But in the meantime, I've been Doom, I've been joined by Frey, and yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and we shall see you next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye for now.
There is no place and no moment in history where I could stand and say, British begins here, now.